Hello there. This is my submission to the Sleep and Cheap channel to maybe consider me for being a member of the team. What I've got going on today is a demo to try to resolve a problem that I personally had well, I'm not trying to actually Sleep, but I had a bear of a time trying to fix. For instance, it wasn't until right about yesterday when I got this here 1991 4-liter comanche going auto May 3rd. So, pardon the traffic again, kind of live right next to the road. But, just by sheer coincidence, I found out what the problem is. But, here's what it was doing. It wasn't starting, but here's what I'm trying to say. Put it in drive. Nothing happens. As you can tell, the truck could wind up, the engine speed did increase. However, I have to say that was right about 3,000 RPMs. I didn't even move. So, here is what it looks like after I fix the problem. Now, here's what happens when the issue is resolved. The vehicle can run.
Now, from pretty much about May 3rd up until about yesterday, like you heard me mention earlier, the truck was sitting in my driveway, broke down. As you can see, May 3rd and today is a solid July 10th. That was quite some time. And, well, in that amount of time, I had to scour some forums. Otherwise, I was at my mechanical wit's end. I could not figure out what the problem was. But here, these possible solutions are what I was given when I went to Cherokee Forum, Comanche Club. I just Google searched some issues, and I went to a few other Jeep forums. But what I was told, this is about $2,000 of parts right here in this crate. I was told to get plugs and wires. This is the first tune-up I did when I first bought the vehicle, May 2nd. Then I was told to just go ahead and bump up to 8mm because that could cause an issue. I was also told to get a cap and rotor. So just when I say tune-up, I mean cap, rotor, plugs, rotor button, plug wires, all that. I was told to get a tune-up. I was told to check my timing chain, which I did. My timing was okay. But some people were thinking what was happening was that the timing was not advancing with the correct load or throttle I was giving it. So that's where the tune-up came from. I was also told to get an oxygen sensor. So got an oxygen sensor, map sensor, fuel pump, crankshaft sensor, fuel filter, the ballast resistor, and some of the early Cherokees, they have what's called a little ballast resistor. I will show that right about here. And what that did was that regulated sometimes with the transmission or the alternator or a couple other things. But actually, this ballast resistor is kind of important. So I figured, it could be going out, it could be causing my issues. Because I have a 73 Ford that has one. It went out, the entire truck shuts off. It's just the way it works. Every sensor in that thing, I'm talking every single sensor in the engine bay has been replaced. Even the coolant sensors. The coolant sensors needed replaced when I first bought it, that I knew. And so that's how those got replaced. But I've replaced every other sensor inside the engine bay aside from those. So every sensor on this thing is new. Ignition relay. This is my fuel pressure regulator. That's the vacuum actuated in the very front of the fuel rail. throttle position sensor, my fuel pump relay. I have both an ignition relay and a fuel pump relay. The ignition is because this switch was bad. It would not start in park, which come to find out, because I have terrible luck, it wasn't even this. This is still good. I have a new one in it. I didn't need this. I didn't need that. It was my neutral safety switch, which, bleeping Jeep, thank you for showing me the removal and the cleaning of that. And it needed it bad. But once I got that all cleaned, that solved my ignition problems, which stacked up to an entire box of receipts. And I still wasn't getting anywhere. I put anywhere between, if I did my math correctly, it was between like $19.50 and $22.50. That's a lot of money just to like poke and prod and try what you're trying to figure out. But by sheer whim, I'll explain what happened, how I got it fixed. But now, actually, let's bring the camera over and show what the issue was. What I found my issue to be, transmission control module. That effectively is like a little ECU slash powertrain control unit slash computer for specifically just the transmission. But speaking of computers, I also bought a new one, or not a new one, but a remanufactured one from Advance Auto, thinking that was also my issue. So if you've gone through the pain, suffering, and heartache and, well, expense that I have, hopefully this will help solve some issues. But first, what we need to do to get to the powertrain or the transmission control module is the lower dash panel right here, which I should say this part in the mess. I've been doing some stereo work. That's why the gauge dash panel is gone. You might see some wires protruding out of the socket where the stereo goes. But anyways, let's take off the lower dash panel and I'll show you where the powertrain control module is. Alright, the dash panel has been disconnected, all the screws taken out. Just pop her off. And there it is. Up too much. And that's what it is. And that's where it'll be. So what you do is you just take this plug, pinch a little tab here so you can pull it out. And you will find two 8mm nuts on each side. Just take those off, this will come free, and then that's when you can replace yours. And that's what the thing was with mine. I took the lower dash panel off to get to my ignition switch on top of my steering column because I'm a big dude and I can't really fit under there otherwise. And what I did, stupid rookie Jeeper mistake, I left the dash panel off with this attached, just like it is, just like you see here, in my garage when I was still doing some electrical work. And that was the issue. It wasn't even plugged in. That's what my problem was. Again, that's what my problem was. If you having a similar issue to what I'm having or what I had, check and make sure this plug, because this tab's actually kind of looser than a goose. I mean, there's like no resistance to this thing. But check and make sure that it's plugged all the way in. Like, try to wiggle it around. And if it is, a good test to do is if there's no difference, if there's absolutely no difference in your vehicle's performance when you leave it plugged in and leave it unplugged. If you notice the exact same thing that's happening with your transmission not shifting if you put it in drive, but the engine speed does increase, odds are it's this. Another thing could be is your torque converter, but as we all, pretty much every mechanically inclined person knows, start with the cheapest thing first, and this is cheaper than a torque converter. Try your transmission control module. It should be the exact same thing, whether it's a 1991 Comanche or a 1991 Jeep Cherokee. if your vehicle is doing exactly what mine was doing, odds are it's this. Mine was just unplugged. And there you have it. I hope I am considered as a Bleepin' Jeep member of the crew, because I feel as though I can provide some helpful information with Jeeps, because I have gotten very Jeep inclined over the past 2 months. Trust me, I've kind of found out everything from pretty much bumper to bumper on this thing, what could possibly go wrong, and I've worked on everything from bumper to bumper because of it, thinking it was everything else except for the simple little transmission control unit. Anyways, have a nice day.